Steve, get your feet off the table.
Mom says I don't have to.
Well, I say...
Mom! Dad's trying to get me to run away like all your other kids.
Stan, leave him alone.
Did you guys know that Steve has a brother? What? I had no idea. And it's not Bailey. What? Catherine, stop doing that, please. But kinda, we'll get there. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about American Dad. Or more specifically, Steve Areno, the Steve clone that once was. And sorry if my voice sounds weird, I think I have like con crud or something. I'm also on this new medication which gives me acid reflux, so my throat's been hurting for like a week. Either because of the meds or the con crud, I'm sorry if my voice sounds weird. Obviously, this is a review of Steve Areno, but like most of my other episode reviews, I'll be picking a few episodes that concern the theme of the Smiths screwing up Steve under the guise of parenting him, and then go from there. Steve is Stan and Francine's son, and their youngest child. Previously, I went over how Francine is kind of a creepy mom to Steve. Like when it turns out she has been sneaking Steve her mommy milk, and only Steve, so they can quote-unquote bond.
See? You have been drinking it, bro! So gross! Mom, why? With everything on my plate right now? Ah!
Like, that's freaking disgusting. And when Steve is obviously upset at this major violation, she starts drugging his drinks to make him think that he needs the milk or he'll be weak, with the end result being that Steve is an enmeshed weirdo with an Oedipus complex.
Nuh-uh!
Cooperate, young man.
Much like his father. And to get him to stop, she, like, stings him with bees. Like, ew, no, Francine, no. He needs therapy. Pronto.
Mom, E-I-E-I-O, with a milk here and a milk there. Here a milk, there a milk, everywhere.
We also went over how Stan kinda negatively influenced Steve's love life, such as how, because Stan views women as objects to win the same way a tiger views an antelope, because Steve has a tendency to take horrible advice from his father, this turned him into a repulsive creep who can't land a girl, except for that one time where he almost did, and then Stan basically sent him to reversion therapy camp, whatever it's called, so that he wouldn't be tempted to do it before marriage. Or heck, how Stan can't tell Haley he loves her, or how he activated her as a CIA sleeper agent just so she would marry a man who she doesn't love, and who doesn't love her back because he's gay, just so she could be a housewife like his Republican dream. But there's other examples of how they influenced Steve in negative ways, which ruined his social life, especially when it comes to his physical appearance, like in Helping Handies. Oh my god, I remember nothing about this episode, where Stan tries to make Steve a popular kid by giving him steroids.
Managed to get my hands on this top-of-the-line, largely untested performance enhancer.
Dad, face it. I'm never gonna be popular like Vince Chung.
Don't say that! Don't ever say that!
But the end result ends up giving Steve a pair of knockers that kind of rival mine. I'm nearly jealous.
Oh my god!
I know. Talk about a butterface.
Granted, in a way, it does make Steve popular, because then the boys have a license to be creeps, which I am not showing, and for once I am glad that YouTube has their weirdo puritanical rules. Or again, the whole breast milk scenario, like that's kinda disgusting. Like I thought Robert, Aaron, and Liza were creepy.
But can you please turn on the white noise machine before you leave? It helps me go to sleep.
Like, they had to live in the basement Grey Garden style.
Stevie! Lunchtime!
Granted, that was how I found out about Grey Gardens. That's a really sad documentary. Or how, in the most infamous 1600 Candles, Steve is starting puberty. Not like, okay, cause I'm from the age where they taught puberty on gender lines. I know nothing about guy puberty. The only thing is he grows a boy hair on his boy part.
Honey, that's wonderful. We're so happy for you.
Yes, very happy. Now go ahead and pull up your pants.
And the pair are reminded about how much puberty sucks, considering how Haley became an absolute terror.
What do you mean, every month? Honey, that's the glory of being a woman. I'm not using these!
This is why you don't brainwash your child to become a CIA sleeper agent. Granted, Steve was also brainwashed to kill Walter Mondale, so anything's possible. But you think that's bad, Haley? You should try PMDD. Or for boys, just so you know, tampons can make the cramps worse, or the symptoms. But considering how Stan and Francine hate puberty, I feel it explains how the later seasons seem to make Steve, way less mature. Like they, or mostly Francine, started to baby Steve so much in response in the hopes he wouldn't go crazy like his sister, even if the end result is Steve is a total baby who still plays with toys. Because I am 24 and I clearly don't do that. So the pair get a serum from the CIA to delay puberty.
Still classified?
Yes.
I brought brownies.
Brownies!
Oh, wait, why are they doing this? Oh wait, this was before puberty blockers. Well, I mean, they did have puberty blockers back then, but okay, you know what I mean. Then again, I don't think Stan would believe in puberty blockers, even for something that has nothing to do with gender identity. Anyway, they give Steve the serum, but because they gave him too much, it turns him into a little kid.
What the hell happened to me? I'm a damn toddler!
Moving on!
Should have balanced out your brownies, Francine. This ruins his social life since he can't score a date with Lisa Silver, who thinks that little Stevie is a prank.
This is all your fault. They should be at the mall right now buying me a tiny remote-controlled helicopter that'll break the moment I use it.
Oh my god! I'm supposed to meet Lisa at the mall to buy her a dress.
You know, I can't believe he still wants her, considering how she outright said in the pilot with her Karma Electra voice, yeah, that's actually Karma Electra, and she found him repulsive, and the only reason she got with him was because he was class president, but they are still ruining his life. I mean, do you really think he wants to be babied by Francine again? Oh my god.
I said 4!
Oh, I'm sorry, I hit 3.
I know, I saw.
You've got string bean legs. I want to bite them.
So Stan goes to get him a new serum and fix Francine's up. The problem, well, Stan got too much of it, as Stan's end goal was to basically skip over puberty entirely and instead focus on Steve being an adult.
When he gets up from his nap, he's gonna be 21.
Oh no, Stan, what did you do?
I had the boys at the lab give me enough serum to drop Steve off just on the other side of puberty.
Oh, he'll be an adult all right, Stan. You're gonna get your wish.
Saints alive! Minus 14 in Minneapolis? Oh, no thank you.
Is he?
Ew, he looks like Steve as a 2-week-old ice pop. Eventually, they end up returning Steve to puberty after he runs away to a nursing home. And they show him there's a bright side to puberty, as you only get to be a teen once.
And she's waiting for you. When she called the house looking for you, it made me remember that puberty wasn't all bad. There's stuff you don't want to miss.
No offense, Steve, you already learned this lesson. God taught you, under the disguise of Angelina Jolie, that being a kid doesn't last forever, so you might as well enjoy it. Unless that was just a mirage, considering how you were trapped in the desert with no food or water. But again, this is American Dad, so I accepted being God and not Steve hallucinating. Steve gets to enjoy puberty with Lisa Silver for all of 5 minutes, because, okay, this requires a bit of context. In their haste to make sure Steve can't go through puberty, or to deal with it, they neglected Roger's birthday, his 1600th birthday, hence the title.
What did you wait, a whole 6 years for a bouncy castle? Yeah, try 1600. This should have been my party.
Mom!
Your mama's dead.
At least it's better than his 1601st birthday. And Roger can't get mad at Francine and Stan and their ineptitude because he did try.
What a great place to shop for birthday presents.
Meaning, instead, he gets angry at Steve and throws him to the bullies like Chum to the sharks. Don't worry, on the bright side, he gets his own cake and it's covered in Steve's boy hair, so that's karma. Alright, we've already established how Stan and Francine will mess with Steve's body and his health just to make parenting easier on them. Time for Steve Areno, because he really fits into this like a glove. But first, some more background. I'm sorry, I'm just making sure you all know. Haley remembers why she fell in love with Jeff in the first place, and the pair decide to spur of the moment elope, which obviously angers Stan and Francine, not because of how sudden it is, but because they don't like Jeff to start with. Stan offers 50 grand to anybody who can stop the wedding, which was supposed to be the fun for Haley's actual wedding.
Stan, are we doing the right thing? what if Haley hates us for doing this?
Hates us? We're saving her from making a huge mistake. She'll probably thank us.
This includes a bus of 98 side characters who crash, and pretty much every meaningful character up to this point gets a cameo. Think of it like the 200, but diet version. It's fun. Not my favorite episode, I like the 200 better, but Eventually, they get a call out of the blue that Jeff left Haley because he couldn't take the pressure, and therefore, because he's not going to marry Haley, he technically ruined the wedding. Meaning, he gets the money.
We were right about you all along.
I'm sorry, Mr. S. Your daughter and I have just been fighting a lot, and I'm not sure she's awesome.
Just say the word.
However, as it turns out, the pair fibbed, and Stan is actually kinda proud of both of them. Well, more so Jeff, because it was his idea.
Our daughter's new husband just made 50 grand in half a day. Maybe he's not the idiot we thought he was.
Huh. So maybe Haley's judgment isn't so bad.
Okay, which brings us to the episode immediately after, Son of Stan. Unfortunately, I won't talk about the Jeff and Haley and Roger subplot, but here's a quick sample clip to show you what'll happen. He's going to haunt your dreams tonight. At a funeral for the 98 victims of the tragic bus crash, we see townsfolk present to mourn the dead, including
Bobby the Bullet, Coco, Brett, and of course, Clown with glasses.
Okay, this part is weird. Brett died in that episode, and it wasn't because of the bus crash. I mean, he did collide with Bobby the Bullet, so maybe that's why they're counting him. But no, Brett was not on that bus. I don't know if he was supposed to be originally, and they just wrote the scene first and didn't have time to rewrite it, but no, he wasn't.
I played Stan's satanic best friend in episode 302.
Also, that's incorrect too. This is the correct episode order. Stan and Francine show up to pay their respects. After all, they're mourning too. I mean, they knew a good deal of people on that bus, but they have their own personal loss. Haley hasn't called them in 6 whole weeks.
At least you know where your loved one is.
What if she's pregnant? I mean, 6 weeks, just saying. At the funeral, Stan meets up with Duper. Wait, but didn't he also die? That is so freaky. Unless, is that Duper's body double?
I did, but it turns out the CIA's been working on this new cloning thing, and here I am. Exactly the same in every way.
Wow, that's actually kind of creepy when you start to think about it. Like, imagine at any time you could work for the CIA and then you die so a new version takes your place. Like, you gotta wonder if his wife even knows it's not the real him. At least Stan's robot from the future, we knew from his weirdo futuristic accent that wasn't really Stan. Afterwards, they go into Haley's room. Thankfully, it's not cold and drafty like Roger's attic, so they won't get pneumonia, and they reflect on how they raised Haley and the mistakes they made as parents that brought her to that point.
We raised a junior college dropout who stole 50 grand from us and eloped with a stoner hippie. Face it, Slick. We've failed as parents, even by Appalachian standards.
Stan is obviously upset at how Haley turned out, and believes they failed as parents. Which, yeah, you kinda did. Good thing you have that other kid.
Hi, I'm back from school.
Little Stevie, right on cue. Oh no, but here comes the first issue. Should Steve start his homework, or should he relax for a couple of minutes before he does? Stan and Francine, while they have similar beliefs, each have different parenting styles. Stan is the strict parent, and he thinks that Steve should do homework before anything, whereas Francine thinks Steve had a tough day and he should relax before he does. What do I think? Well, you guys all know I like to take a middle ground approach. I feel like Steve should get a few minutes to relax, but something like, Steve, you can watch TV, but you gotta start your homework at like 3:30 or 4 o'clock or something like that, or have it done before dinner, or a set schedule. Or alternatively, I feel like it also depends on the amount of homework and the type. If it's only a couple of assignments, or at least easy assignments, then yeah, I think it's okay to relax because you know it'll eventually get done. Just don't procrastinate. If it's a lot or hard assignments, then yeah, I would get it done, or get a good portion of it done, then take a quick break break, watch some TV, and then finish the rest. Heck, does Steve even have homework to start with? Imagine the irony. I, for one, just did it during class or at lunch. That way, I had little to nothing to do at home besides just reread this chapter or something. But Steve eventually just gets fed up and leaves.
Whatever. I gotta get a popsicle on the old starfish.
Ew, what the hell is that? This leads into the conflict of the episode. Which parenting style is better, and which was the one that drove away Haley? Stan's or Francine's? Let's hear them out.
Listen to me. Children need structure and discipline.
No, kids need space to make their own mistakes and learn from them.
Since this review will obviously be affected by my own biases, which parenting style do I think is better? Well, again, I like to take a middle ground approach, as I'm more of a mix of the two, since that's the eventual lesson they'll learn. But for the moment, I'm more on Francine's side. Kids need to make mistakes and learn from them, because making mistakes is how you grow as a person. But you can't just let a kid do what they want all the time willy-nilly. That's how they get spoiled. They need a parent there to teach them right for wrong, or show them the way, or explain it to them. After all, my philosophy is that kids are gonna find a way to do the wrong thing, or see the wrong thing. At least be sure they're doing it the right way, or as safely as possible, or with your input. But then again, I also do see Stan's point, because Francine can be way too lenient with Steve, and protect him from the idea of making mistakes to learn from so she can baby him, so she's not really one to talk. Like, the only time she ever was strict with Steve was when he cursed at her, and she basically ended up treating him like he was invisible. Not to teach him a lesson, but so he would come crawling back to her and she could take care of him.
And that's how I want to see my little man, begging for mercy because he's completely incapable of taking care of himself. Motherhood.
Still, when you get down to it, Stan is more so the one responsible for Haley leaving out of the pair. I guess it's more on Reginald because he unintentionally pushed her and Jeff together, but he had the worst relationship with Haley, and Haley is all about rebelling against her father. And he also had the biggest gripe against Jeff to start with. Francine didn't really care about him because he was nice. She was just egging on Stan, especially in 100 AD when this happened.
Scat!
Jeff, you're not good enough for our daughter. You have no job, no home, and no future. Plus, you're always wiping your face.
No, I'm not.
But I think one reason both of these people think in the extremes, outside of it being American Dad, is because of how they were raised. Because how you're raised basically impacts how you're gonna raise your kids. Before she was adopted by Mama and Baba, Francine grew up in a Catholic orphanage where you were smacked with mackerel for writing with your left hand. And I could assume probably any other matter of mistake. And Mama and Baba also had their own rules and restrictions on how Francine could behave, which basically fit into her being a stereotype. While Stan grew up heavily restricted himself because he never had a childhood after his father left him. And before that, because his family was dirt poor, he didn't even get normal vacations or excursions. Like, his version of going to the zoo was watching Roadkill. When you have kids, obviously, you try to give them what you didn't have as a kid, especially the way you were raised, like the childhood you wish you had, like to break the cycle.
Sorry, Daddy, but I want Randy to have all the things I didn't have.
And I want you not to have the things I didn't have. That's the sacrifice we all have to make.
And with Francine, I think that's a carefree childhood with little to no restrictions. Whereas with Stan, that's a childhood with lots of rules and structure, because that was better than what he got, or what he thinks he should have gotten, or what he thinks is just plain normal. Obviously, the Smiths take an all or nothing approach, and they can't decide how to raise Steve going forward. So they decide the only possible way to do it is to race for it. Yay, dirt bikes. I always want to ride one, but I could never get past the training wheels. And Francine wins.
Does this mean I won, or should I keep going?
I cannot continue.
Yes! We race Steve my way!
Yay! That means going forward, it'll be like Big Comfy Couch. Did you know Allison Court was in Big Comfy Couch? She was also Lydia in the Beetlejuice cartoon and the Queen from Mike the Knight. Small world, I had no clue. I only knew her from X-Men. But oh no! Francine won! Oh no! What to do? Well, I guess we'll have to cut to the next scene and see.
Stand up straight. Wipe your glasses. Tuck in your shirt.
Daniel, you're not supposed to be scolding Steve like that. You are violating the rules of the dirt bike racing. Steve's not going to church. He doesn't need to tuck in his shirt. Hey, that rhymes. I will have your head and your freak chin.
I'm not being strict with Steve. Steve's out there.
Oh. Well, that's confusing. Stan says that he cloned Steve at the CIA. That way, he can parent Steve any way he wants, technically. Oh, and he also cloned John Leguizamo, who I knew nothing about until I watched that one movie. Am I allowed to talk about him? I don't think I am. I don't want him to come for me. Strangely, Steve is actually excited by the clone idea, because it's not unlike having a brother, and honestly, I kinda am too. Even if it was oversaturated in the late 2010s, and even kinda now, I like the idea of clones or alternate selves. Like the idea of what if, like even if I took the right path, what if it really had bad consequences? Like even Beavis and Butthead got it, but I liked how they did it. Smart Beavis and Smart Butthead make the point there's countless infinite versions of the duo, and yet none of them have ever popped their cherry. Because at the end of the day, they're all just Beavis and Butthead, with all of the quirks that come with it. Or while clones are basically just you, they still have the potential to change, since they're basically how you would react to new circumstances. Meaning they could basically be whatever they want. Like in Venture Brothers, Hank and Dean are clones of clones of clones of clones. They're like batch 14 as far as we know. And at the start of the show, they're the same brand of shelter, immature, vanilla nerd. But by the end of the show, because they have gone multiple seasons without being cloned, they change fundamentally as people. And they're basically nothing like their season 1 selves. Or how even, spoiler alert, the Monarch is a clone of Rusty, but because he grew up with loving parents and had to claw his way to success rather than be born into it, he's still a crazy guy, but he's better adjusted when it comes to long-term relationships, especially with Gary and Sheila. But sorry, I'm stalling. I'm not trying to make this a review. One more point I want to make and then I'll move on is I'm surprised Steve and Snot's testubular adventure never referenced this, since in this episode, Steve's clone, who is dubbed Steve Areno in order to differentiate the two, is born the exact same age as Steve, and as Stan says,
they're identical, right down to their memories and emotions. So from here on, how they turn out is totally based on their upbringing.
So, yeah, but when he and Snot make clones of Glitter and Honey, they're born as babies, and they have to be raised into teenhood, which is actually kind of screwed up when you really strip away the comedy. Then they die on prom night once they reach the age of the girls they were cloned from, and because they were basically raised in Roger's attic, they're nothing like the girls they were cloned from. Again, it's creepy AF, but I'm surprised that episode didn't make a joke like they changed up the cloning technology or Steve and Snot hit a wrong button or they used the prototype and not the real one, especially considering how Stan had Darren and Darren seemed perfectly fine. Kitty, you're stalling again. Sorry. But the idea of Steve Areno leads into another bet between the parents.
We'll see which one turns out better, and the other one we'll just put down.
What?
We'll figure it out.
Well, no pressure there, Steves. Unfortunately, because of the bet, they each parent their Steves to the biggest extremes, with absolutely no change. For example, Stan tries to raise Steve Areno to be a strapping, conservative lad, while Steve basically joins the unschooling movement.
Wait, so I don't have to follow any of Dad's rules?
That's right, honey.
Yeah! I'm gonna go have a garden burger. Maybe it'll turn me gay, maybe it won't.
What is that even? Is that a euphemism for something? Is that like a Beyond Burger? Like, what? Is that like a jerky burger? No, well, I do believe Francine's parenting style has its benefits. Well, Steve is also a spoiled brat when you really get down to it. Like, maybe Krampus was onto something. So as expected, Francine's parenting style slowly turns him into a bigger brat than he already is. Like, he reminds me of those parents who let their babies cry on planes. Like, nobody cares if your baby cries on a plane. They care if you don't do anything about it. But anyway, he's like a slob, he has no bedtime, and he has chocolate chip pancakes and Chardonnay for breakfast every single morning.
Stayed up until 3 playing Night Manager, the most realistic retail-themed video game on the market.
Sounds productive.
Really? They should watch that one episode of The Loud House where the kids try to homeschool themselves. Kinda relatable now that I work from home, but I feel like it's a pretty good point. Something like that, you need to have good work ethic, or you need to have good time management skills. But once again, Steve's personality isn't correct for these extreme parenting methods. Stan forces Steve Areno to go to military school.
Military school?
You want those dividends, don't you? The muscles? The brains?
Which would exclude all of his friends, such as Snot and Barry, and forces him to forgo any kind of pleasure to get perfect grades and prime athleticism in order to get girls. But he can't have girls because no girls before marriage, and he can't go to a normal school because I assume military school is just all boys, so where's he gonna find girls to start with?
And you have to trust me.
I trust you, Dad.
Attaboy!
Now, to be fair, Steve has bought into his father's conservatism in previous episodes, but I feel like in those instances, he also had a good balance, or at least an out. He still got to go to school with normal people, and he absorbed the right media. Steve Areno has absolutely no outlet. The only person he ever interacts with is Stan, and occasionally Steve and Francine, but mostly Stan. He doesn't even get to watch TV.
Father, may I watch television with Steve?
No can do, son. You got an A- in biology. You get that grade up, I'll let you watch a full hour of Fox News or City Council meetings.
Not even PBS? Oh, I am calling typhus. Whereas normal Steve...
Big deal. Like, you're so great with your stupid trophy. I have a trophy, too.
Ew, he is not touching a girl ever. Get out of my sight. Don't even be within 15 miles of a girl. But after 3 months, it seems like, while Stan is without love, Stan's parenting style is quote-unquote the best, since Steve Areno is making something of himself, whereas Steve looks like a living version of used boxers. Guess Stan won. Get the deaf thing ready. We're killing the original. Wait, how are they even gonna do it? Like, are they gonna put, like, rat poison in his cereal or something? But unfortunately, talk of deaf stuff is stalled because Steve Areno has run away from home.
Santa Maria!
Oh, much like his older sister. Maybe that's how he got the idea. I guess normal Steve, while being able to be smelled from outer space, is still technically the good child by technicality.
I haven't been off this couch in 2 weeks. It's my bedroom, my bathroom, and my lover.
Wait, are you asleep on the couch? Am I Steve Areno? Oh my god! At least I don't use the couch as a bathroom because I have standards. But to enlighten his father on why he left, Steve Areno was gracious enough to leave a note.
I'm leaving and never coming back. All the best, Steve Areno. P.S. I will be dropping the Areno from my name as I am not a character from Welcome Back, Kotter.
He's got a good point, Stan. His name isn't conclusive with this newfound conservative lifestyle. Imagine a Republican candidate named Steve Areno Smith. I'm sorry, it just doesn't gel right with me. Maybe S. Smith or Stephen A. Smith, but definitely not Steve Areno Smith. Actually, speaking of, I just realized this while I was recording. Is Steve Areno supposed to replace the Anita in Steve's normal name? Well, at least they have normal Steve to parent the right way and shower all of their love and affection and attention.
Oh my god, it's true. I've failed as a father.
You can still be a good dad. If you get me some more nachos.
To my father, if you're watching this, you can redeem yourself in my eyes. If you get me more chips, you asshole! Or those cigarettes you promised. They always say they're cigarettes and they never come back with any. Just freaking paternity suits. But this is where it gets juicy, like guava. Francine opens Steve's knapsack, trying to get him to go to school, and discovers...
Don't touch that!
He mutilates innocent cats. Yes! You raised a monster! Steve Areno only ran away!
Oh my god, Steve, what the hell? You mutilated my own kind, not a furry. Well, I guess Francine lost, because even if Steve Areno just ran away, he only just ran away. He never mutilated animals. Time to hunt down Steve Areno and feed him to the beast. Who cares? We're all water, Steve Areno. But as it turns out, Steve is really Steve Areno in disguise.
Steve Areno?
Hi, Dad.
But why, Steve Areno? Why? And where's normal Steve?
I hated all your rules and wanted Steve's easy life. So I faked running away and took his place.
So you couldn't mouth off openly or rebel like most kids or play hooky or anything? Then again, you're also Steve, so I could totally see Steve doing most of this crap too. Guess in a way they both failed as parents. They're bad parents! And they couldn't even raise a baby scallop without stepping on it if they wanted. Steve Areno says he's holding Steve captive for body parts. Smart. Okay, go on. But... okay, I'll let him say it because he does it better.
I got him locked away. I was keeping him alive in case I ever needed some spare body parts, but now that the cat's out of the bag, I'm gonna kill him.
I'm sorry, that's so clever. He has decided to kill Steve, who, as a wadded up napkin after a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese's, has no fight in him. Like, really, dude? You wanted his organs? Like, they're probably not healthy. His blood is probably not even blood anymore, but grease from Papa John's chicken wings. Ew, I hate Papa John's. But it seems like Stan's military school training paid off, since Steve Areno can kick Stan's tight little buns. Karma! Still, I wish more shows kinda did what King of the Hill did, and made the point that nowadays, military school isn't like you see in the movies, where they beat you senselessly and just yell at you. They're pretty much like elite boarding schools. Like, even in that episode, Bobby just learned how to be disciplined. They were tough but not rough. And God was upset they actually treated the kids like individuals and not sacks full of butter to beat. But American Dad is still American Dad, so I guess I shouldn't overly explain myself in an effort to hit a runtime. Guacamole, cheese, mayonnaise, nachos. They track Steve Areno down to the old abandoned magazine factory on dirt bikes. Hey, they made a comeback. And at the factory, holy hell, what is this place? It's like my kind are in cages, not a furry. Granted, I didn't notice this on my first watch, but I kind of like the detail of the graffiti in the background, which I can only assume Steve Areno drew because of how G-rated it seems. Like how it says, aspire, or never give up, or reach for the stars. It's really in character, like Steve would totally make the most polite graffiti possible in an effort to help himself, especially since Steve Areno is kind of implied to be a sad, scared kid. It kind of makes me wonder if the one thing holding Stan back was if he raised Steve Areno with love, would he have been better? As in just telling him, I'm proud of you or I love you every once in a while. Like when he brought home an A in school and politely asked to watch TV and he was told he wasn't even allowed to do that. Like if he just said, I'm proud of you, I love you, go watch TV, would Stan's parenting style have actually worked in that case? Wow, he makes Hiko seem like Caillou's mom. But I kind of wonder why Steve Areno hates cats so much that he's constantly killing them and eating them in graphic ways. But strangely killing them mercifully. I don't know if it's like to protect the meat or if Steve would do it or I don't know. I heard some people say it's a result of the cat that Steve tried to befriend that kept scratching him, and you know what? I can believe that theory. Steve Areno has effectively become Steve with no impulse control. He can unleash whatever emotion he wants, no matter how outlandish, and that includes his feelings against cats. I mean, the only reason he's doing any of this is because he's lashing out at his father, like he's doing right here.
All the studying, all the planning for your Christian camp. I know you want to break ground in 2012, but it's not gonna happen! We can't get the permit!
This should be an episode. I'm sorry, it was hilarious watching Stan coach a Girl Scout team. Imagine him coaching a Christian camp. We also had the Purity Ring episode. I feel like that was a good look into what would happen. Like it could be that Jesus Camp movie. But at least Family Guy had an episode like that to that effect, and you should totally watch it. It's really funny. Stan orders Steve Areno to step down, but as Francine says, being strict led to this whole situation. So he follows the Francine method to raise Steve Areno with love.
I promise to let you do whatever you want, whenever you want. You name it.
I want to kill Steve.
Okay.
Stan?
Right.
Oh wait. No! They free Steve via unleashing Steve Areno's prisoners and letting them get the revenge on their jailer. Yeah, go ahead. You guys go.
What a waste. Those were brand new sneakers. Oh, hey, they'll fit Steve.
Oh, hand-me-downs. Oh, wait. They free Steve, and they're able to snap him out of his Augustus St. Cloud mindset, this time by Francine following the other parent's style.
I am your mother! If you don't get out of that cage, I will push you back up my clown hole and birth you again! Now get out of that cage!
Wow, you go, girl. But you know Steve would probably like that, no offense, considering rubberneckers. So they decide that going forward, Steve will have both parenting styles in order to balance him out. They will each be loving with him, but they will insist he still fulfill his childhood duties by going to school and doing his homework. But this isn't the end of Steve Areno just yet. Wait, is that the cat? Wait, hold on. Yes, Simon, that's his name. Yes, Simon. Oh my god, poor Simon. Again, I think Steve Areno started catching cats on purpose because of Simon. Like, he had that memory locked inside of him. Or perhaps to get to Simon. Like, can you imagine Steve Areno, like, insulting the cats? Like, where is Simon? Oh, you're not talking? Electricals. Revenge. Still, I kind of wish they brought Steve Areno back. I like Steve Areno. It was cool. Or maybe they could do, like, a Haley version. Just saying. I know at the end of the episode, they imply that he died.
I'll see you in hell.
But everybody knows the golden rule of TV. If you don't see a body, they aren't truly dead. They're just missing. Like, you could do this with Haley, you could do this with Jeff, you could do it with the whole family. Like, imagine Steve Areno having a family of Arenos. Or like, you could say that Simon missed, or he really hit Steve Areno in the leg or something. Like, seriously? But for now, I guess we'll have to make do with our regular old Steve, and hope he doesn't look like a used hanky. And I guess in the meantime, for any cloning action, I'll just watch Venture Brothers. Anyhow, bye!